Hey everyone, it's Joe from Action X 3000 bringing you another movie review. This time it is for Marvel Studios and Sony's too. Spider-Man Far From Home. And I gotta say, after Endgame, when I came out the theater from Endgame, it was like the first 2 weeks after Endgame, I was really not down to see Far From Home because I was kind of scared. Not scared, but like it was so soon to jump back into this world where, looking back from the original Avengers to Iron Man 3, that was enough time to like process, like, yeah, the world we lived in before is not the same anymore, and we needed that year to kind of reflect and get back into it with Iron Man 3. Now we only have to wait, like, I think 2 months for like the next chapter. And this is obviously, of course, the final chapter of the Infinity Saga, which kind of never made sense to me when I was hearing it in the promotions and the marketing campaign, because it was like, Endgame was like the big culmination to this entire story, and they said no, Far From Home is the true final chapter. And like, how does that work? And it does make sense when I get to the film and when I do get to the spoilers, of course. But going into Far From Home, obviously this was just in general another Spider-Man film. So not only did it have to be a Endgame follow-up to an extent, it also had to be a sequel to Homecoming and also another Spider-Man film. I did this one a little bit differently than my previous MCU watch along one. Well, not all of them, but it was like one. For me, I always watch these Spider-Man movies with my dad. So when the whole the Marvel Sony deal happened, where Spider-Man was coming to the MCU, and I told my dad about this, he was kind of a little hesitant because, like, watching the Spider-Man movies alone were a task enough. So watching the others that weren't Spider-Man was a bit more. He doesn't like space films. He doesn't like, the very cosmic films. And obviously Endgame and Infinity War were so much of that. So, of course, for me as like a son who also shares these experiences with my dad, I had to literally tell him everything that happened through Infinity War and Endgame so he can understand the events of Far From Home. And obviously, on all three marks, they hit so well that I remember everyone knows that Kevin Feige said, I think at some point after Civil War or at some certain film, you kind of have to watch at least one of the previous MCU films to understand what's going on. They were no longer making a lot of entry point films for the MCU because at that point we were getting so deeper into the Infinity Saga, it was going to be more difficult to do that. So you had to have some sort of prior context in the larger world, which definitely makes sense and did not help my dad at all when we were going through Far From Home because Infinity War was too long. But anyway, let's get down to the actual film itself. Base level, no spoilers. I enjoyed Far From Home. I feel like so far I'm still having that difficult tale. Is this better than Homecoming? Is this better than, or is this like, I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like both films have their strong points. But in terms of rewatchability, I would probably, I don't know. Like, maybe I'll give a final answer after this review's over and when I'm processing and giving you my thoughts. But right now, I still don't know. I really don't know. I feel like it's not one of the best MCU movies. I feel like it's in the top 10, maybe top 15, but it's a really good movie. So the movie obviously was in a bit of a tight spot, considering the fact this was going to be released after Endgame, of course, and with marketing campaigns, they have to start months before, but since Endgame was going to come out 2 months beforehand, so was Spider-Man going to survive at the events of Endgame? Was he going to come back? And the whole marketing campaign for Endgame was like, half the heroes from Infinity War died, and Spider-Man was one of them, but he's now alive and Far From Home. So it was like the debate, was this going to be pre-Infinity War or post-Endgame? And obviously for us fans, like the real fans, like we know it's going to be a post-Endgame film. We kind of already low-key knew that these heroes were going to come back somehow. It was just like, how were they going to do that? What's the cost of doing that? That sort of thing. So when that happened, and it was like after Endgame came out, like we kind of knew, and especially that trailer we got after Endgame definitely sold us the fact that this was going to be somewhat of a bigger movie than we were going to be anticipating. And story-wise, this definitely made sense. I made this comparison to George. I made this like not comparison, like this simile to George after Endgame, was that we were in a world similar to when you get divorced, when your parents get divorced. You don't know what's going to happen next. The things you knew for like years and years and years are just gone, and you have to like sort of adapt to this new environment, where in this case, being this is from after Endgame, there is no Avengers. Like, there is no, like, since Age of Ultron, like a little bit before Age of Ultron, there has been an active Avengers team, whether it's the classics from Age of Ultron to the Civil War ones before the events of Civil War happened, or Tony's fractured ones, and then the ones that came together to reverse everything Thanos done in Infinity War. At this point in the story, there is no Avengers. There is nothing. And on top of that, Iron Man is dead. Captain America, the original one, is gone. And again, I think I should special. I mean, if you're watching this review, you obviously know what the hell happened in the movie. But these are Endgame spoilers, so you know. And a lot of heroes are gone. You know, Thor's not there anymore. You know, Hulk is, I don't know what the hell he's doing, but after the Professor Hulk CGI disaster, I don't think it's going to be a while before we see him again. And you know, Hawkeye's doing his own thing. Black Widow's, you know, RIP. So this kind of sum it down. There is no Avengers. No one's funding the Avengers anymore. There is no Avengers. The compound's destroyed. The tower's been sold. So at this point, there are no Avengers. So, and the only real public heroes left on Earth, you know, Black Panther is kind of, you know, closed off in Wakanda for the time being. Doctor Strange has never been the public hero, and you can keep going down the list. But pretty much Spider-Man is the only public hero left on Earth. So, and now everyone's asking him the question, what's going to happen if another alien Avenger, right? What happens if there's another big bad coming out? Or is he going to be the next Iron Man? Is he going to step up and be like the main hero that's going to save the day, you know, on every world extinction crisis? And Peter Parker isn't ready yet to handle that responsibility. He's still a teenager. He's still 16. I mean, if a teenager, I've been a teenager before. And so if you were to tell me that, I would be scared shitless. Like, even having those powers, you know, being how he initially at the end of Homecoming, he just wanted to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And now with this film, he has to now kind of step up and be a larger hero than, you know, anyone wasn't, even he was anticipating to be. And it kind of speaks to his journey a little bit, because, like, I'm remembering back in Homecoming, like, in Homecoming, he wanted to be an Avenger. He wanted to do the bigger missions, but Tony Stark was always told him, no, just stick to being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And now we're fast forwarding 2 years later, well, technically 7, but, you know, timeline's screwy, if I have to say anything. That has been reversed, where it's like, he has to be an Avenger. He has to do these bigger missions, you know, now more than ever, but he doesn't want to be. He wants to stay local. And thankfully the vacation kind of, you know, makes things interesting, because he also wants to have his own personal relationship with MJ. And it's a lot for a teenager to do, and it definitely did harken back to a little bit from the original Spider-Man 2 from 2004, where it's like he wants to be something, but what he is right now is prohibiting him from being that. And that was and they did their own interpretation on things. But that's a different story. But I can't say any more without getting into spoilers. I feel like, as terms of the cast of characters, Tom Holland did a great job once again as Peter Parker. You know, now he's really made it his own, and definitely exploring some new avenues that I don't think the other Spider-Men have done before. Zendaya did a great job as MJ, and despite all the initial like backlash when the Homecoming reveal happened, I feel like she's doing a great job as her own MJ. She doesn't have to be the one we're all used to, the red hair, the theatrical woman that we've known before. She is her own different character, and I personally love it. I love Ned so much. You know, Jake Babylon. I'm butchering names now more than ever. I loved him. I think Ned has been a great source of comedic relief. Definitely the avenue he takes with Betty Brant in this film, very, very hilarious, and also speaks to my romantic history, I lack of thereof. So that was interesting. I love Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. Again, he's another character where I'm waiting to the spoiler section, but Jake Gyllenhaal did such a great job in this role that it really, like, he came at the right time. I'll just say that. He really came at the right time. Seeing Nick Fury again was great. This has definitely been the year of Fury. Maria Hill was great. Aunt May was great. Happy Hogan was amazing. By far, I love Jon Favreau. And Okay, now I'm really running out of things to say in the non-spoiler section, so I'm going to switch over right now. But to kind of wrap up, like if you haven't seen Far From Home yet, please do. It's amazing. Far From Home, obviously, being take place after Endgame. So if you have seen everything that came before, you definitely need to see Far From Home. It's a very very important piece to where things end off on this major chapter of the MCU, and kind of gives us a little bit of a tease of what we can expect when we come back next year. And so yeah, go see Far From Home now in theaters. And now to switch over the spoilers. I'm gonna skip ahead. I'm gonna really skip ahead here. Motherfuckers, they did it. They brought back J.K. Simmons as freaking J. Jonah Jameson. Let's go. I literally sat up from my seat. Like, the moment they say thedailybugle.net, I was like, are they going to show him? And then it was like, yes, and it was him, and god damn it, I loved it. I mean, technically speaking, J.K. Simmons was never really far away from the role. After the original trilogy wrapped up, he played the role again on the animated show Ultimate Spider-Man. And that was kind of a good treat to kind of see him again, you know, to hear his voice again. So it hasn't been that long since we heard it, but it's been so long since I've seen him on the big screen as that character. Like, a part of my childhood lighted up. And I gotta respect Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios very much. So where we're now in that position where it's like we can have the older actors that portrayed these characters before portray new versions of them. And I'm very much interested to see if they bring J. Jonah Jameson back for more. I really do. I really hope this isn't just a one-shot cameo, but I really do hope. But, you know, that was amazing. So to kind of rewind it now back, where do I want to start? Because it definitely, there's a lot of avenues to take this one, but I got to start off with the Mysterio twist. I feel like a lot of people knew going into this, like, Mysterio's going to do something. There has to be the Elementals, no offense. I didn't honestly think they were going to be the big bad of the whole thing. I mean, it would have been very shocking if we went for the entire film and Mysterio wasn't the Mysterio we knew from the comics or the animated show or anything. I would have been completely shocked. But by the time we got to the halfway mark of the film and we got the twist, it was like, damn. And the face he made was like, oh goddamn, he knew, like, he fucked us over. He did. And it was like, then we got the whole reveal about his partner and his, you know, and everything how he did everything. Like, goddamn, they made Mysterio work in the MCU in a grounded world work so perfectly. And I have once again give major props to Marvel, major props to them on how they accomplished this. I found it was very sweet that the whole journey, the whole point of Peter's journey in this film was just to be with MJ, and it kind of made sense because, like, you know, Liz, I'm pretty sure she didn't get affected by the blimp, so she's 5 years older, so she would pretty much be way out of Peter's age rate. Plus, I don't think she was mentioned at all during this movie. So, and MJ kind of like, she already had the attraction to Peter before in Homecoming. If you rewatch that movie after seeing this one, the attraction was there, but Peter's focus was on a different person. So where was I? Yeah. I was at the, so pretty much, yeah, that was very sweet. Honestly, he just wanted to have a very smaller scale journey to deal with after everything he's been through in Infinity War and Endgame. And that was such the right direction to him. And Nick Fury coming back, well, Nick Fury, I'm saying this in quotation marks, coming back saying, listen, you need to step up, you need to do this, you need to help us. And it's like, no, I don't want to do that. And it was very funny to see Nick Fury try his very best to get Peter Parker on board, because pretty much he has no other heroes to call upon, because everyone is either AFK, away, or just not interested. And so having him his only real source of like needing help is Spider-Man of all people is like, okay, that was very funny. I was bummed out that the multiverse thing turned out, at least in this movie, turned out to be a bust. I was kind of really low-key hoping for more from that, similar to the Into the Spider-Verse ending. Like, maybe we got Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker again. I was kind of low-key hoping that, but I kind of knew we weren't going to get that. But the J.K. Simmons one was a very nice substitute for that. So I'm saying, I'm just trying to gather my thoughts here. They honestly did something really different with the final battle with this one, since like after Endgame, there's absolutely no way they could top anything like that. So having all the drones from the Edith program, have that pop in, it was like a very interesting like sub-route to what, you know, these usually are, because it would usually just be a big battle between Spider-Man and Mysterio. But after we figured out what Mysterio really is, it's like, well, technically that couldn't happen. but it also made sense, and it was like, but either way, that final battle sequence was impressive. I loved all the comedic beats with the Happy Hogan and MJ crew what they were doing during the final battle. I'm trying to think what else. I don't want to miss anything important, but it was like it's been so long since I see Far From Home, and even though I'm recording this like I think 3 days after I seen it, and my God, my memory's horrible. Oh yeah, okay. So there was a couple things of this film now that I'm thinking about. I didn't like really Brad's character. I just felt like he was just a nuisance the whole time. He really was. I mean, I understand we have to get Peter some sort of like obstacle towards MJ besides being Spider-Man, besides having to save the world with Nick Fury. I understand that, but it's like, come on. He could have easily kicked his ass, but okay, whatever. I love. I felt like where was I gonna go with this? I felt like I don't know why I'm starting to have a little bit of a weird thing with the I forgot where I was going. Never mind. Let's just drop that point. The ending, like the real, like I'm also low key disappointed that we didn't get to figure out who bought Avengers Tower. I thought this was gonna be the film but we didn't. We just got like a slight shot of the tower. They remounted the bottom, I think, a little bit, but that was it. So I was like, is it gonna be Oscar? Is it gonna be Fantastic Four? Is it gonna be some random thing we didn't expect? Who is it? I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to wait till later on. But the ending of this film, by God, how they revealed that it turns out the whole time, not the whole time, like Mysterio, he had one final card to play from the deck, and that was revealing Spider-Man, like turning people against Spider-Man, and also revealing his identity, which honestly was like, now when I got to that scene, like, okay, now I understand why this was the right ending. Because if you remember back in the original Iron Man, the way that film ended was Tony Stark purposely revealed he is Iron Man, and then at the end of this film, it was like Spider-Man was inadvertently revealed to be Peter Parker. So it was these are two very similar things, one to bookend this entire saga, and it definitely does put many more questions to where we're going to see things in Phase 4 or whatever the next saga or the next set of films. It's going to be very interesting to see how that all turns out, and I'm very excited. But yeah. So anyway, overall, Far From Home was a great film. I think the more I'm thinking about, I think I may have enjoyed Homecoming a little bit more. I think that was just how I don't know. I really don't know, but overall, I feel like both Homecoming and Far From Home had very strong elements, and they had a couple of weak elements. But I think at the end of the day, I think Homecoming just pushes out a little bit more, but barely. But overall, besides that, Far From Home, amazing film, a great film. I feel like if you are a Spider-Man fan, if you're a superhero fan, you definitely just came off after Endgame, and you haven't seen this yet, please do. This has been such a great movie. I really hope Marvel and Sony renew their deal for more film. They can't just end it here. They gotta continue this plot line. I don't want to see this, ending anytime soon. I know there's a rumor that Marvel's developing 9 solo films for Spider-Man. I'm like, yes, do that. If they can make every one of them great, let's do it. And with that being said, go see Far From Home in theaters right now. And yeah, thank you guys so much for hearing my voice. I will see you guys soon. Please like and share the video if you please. Subscribe if you want to. And I will see you guys soon.